Imagine a quiet man, tall and steady, staring across a dusty set with eyes that could cut through steel. He's not angry, he's disappointed. Deeply. The man he can't stand. The biggest cowboy star of 'em all. And for years, no one knew why this gentle southern soul carried such cold fire in his heart. He came into the world on a crisp winter day in 1898, born into a proud Virginia family where honor wasn't just talked about, it was lived. Second of 7 kids, raised in North Carolina under the watchful eyes of a father who built things and a mother who carried grace like a second skin, discipline, respect, quiet, strength. These weren't slogans, they were the air he breathed. Dot school came easy. Private academies, then engineering tracks at top colleges. He could have followed his dad into boardrooms and blueprints, but war called first. World War I France, artillery fields. He served with calm courage, came home, changed, not broken, but sharpened. Purpose now burned inside him. Then California happened. A visit, a glimpse of cameras rolling under golden light. Something stirred. With his broad shoulders, deep voice, and that slow, deliberate way of moving. He didn't just walk into rooms, he commanded them without trying. Started small. Extra work, stunts, bit parts, but patience paid off. By the late 20s, Toki's arrived, and his voice rich, grounded, Rio carved him a lane no one else could fill. The 1930s and 40s became his playground, comedies, dramas. But the West, that's where he belonged. Not loud, not flashy, just true. Films like his 1936 frontier epic, the 1941 Telegraph Saga, the 1943 Outlaw Hunties weren't just movies. They were morality plays on horseback. His heroes didn't roar. They stood firm, faced darkness, chose, right? Even when it hurt. And then came the golden run, the 1950s. A director who saw the shadows in his eyes. Together, they made masterpieces. 1956's Revenge Quest, 1959's Lonely Ride, 1960's Desert Stand, each one tighter, darker, more human. His characters carried ghosts, regrets, but never lost their code. By 1962, he closed the chapter with a final Ryan, aging guardian of justice in a world slipping into chaos. He walked away at the peak on his terms. No faith, no desperation, money. He made plenty. Investetto smarto. Real estate, quiet ventures. Ended up one of the richest stars in town, but you'd never know it. No yachts, no scandals, just family, faith, a life rooted deep. Love came twice. First, in 1936, to a woman born into American royalty. Her family built empires, chemicals, steel, legacy. She wasn't just wealthy, she was fierce. Owned a historic estate, once home to a president, turned it into a horse paradise. Bred champions, raced legends. They'd known each other for years. He'd even stood up at her first wedding. Friendship turned to love. But distance grew. He chased scripts in Hollywood. She lived for the track and tradition back east. 3 years. Divorce? No drama. She kept his name for life. A quiet tribute, maybe, or just pride. Then, in 1944, came the real thing. A younger actress. Beautiful, grounded. She stepped away from the spotlight after they married. Built a home instead. In 1950, they adopted 2 kids, a girl and a boy. He was the cowboy on screen, but at home, soft hands, warm laughter, bedtime stories. Friends said the man who stared down outlaws on film melted around his children. 43 years, no cracks, no rumors, just love, steady as sunrise. They split time between a sleek Beverly Hills pet and a sprawling ranch up the coast. Horses, open sky, silence, the life he'd always wanted. If this story touches your heart, please share it. But beneath the calm surface, a storm brewed, and it had a name. He was the other giant of the West, loud, broad, unapologetic, the Duke of the Silver Screen. To the world, they were brothers in dust and denim. 2 titans of toughness, but in private. Ice. I never liked the man, he said once, voice flat. He stood for everything I couldn't stand. It wasn't jealousy, box office wars. Sure, studios tried to spark them, but this was deeper. One believed in quiet truth, the other in big noise. One built heroes with doubt, pain, reflection. The other sold certainty in capital letters. He was a showman, he'd say. I was a storyteller. That's the difference. Their styles clashed like thunder. One whispered power. The other shouted it. One saw the West as a place of hard choices and harder regrets. The other painted it in bold red, white, and blue. Politics made it worse. The loud one loved the spotlight war, talk, flag waving, barroom speeches. The quiet one hated it. Some things don't belong in saloons or on soundstage, he muttered. Then came the insults, offhand. Cutting, too pretty to be a real cowboy. He never forgot, never forgave. Being loud didn't make you tough, he thought. Being real meant holding still when the world screamed. But the deepest wound, the war he'd served, seen the mud, heard the shells, came home humbled. The other stayed back, made movies, played hero, dodged the draft with deferments and studio pull. To the quiet man, that wasn't just cowardice, it was fraud. I didn't judge men who stayed home, he said late in life, but I couldn't respect a man who played soldier after refusing to be one. He never went public. No feuds in tabloids, no bitter memoirs, just distance. If the loud one walked into a room, the quiet one walked out. Friends tiptoed. Co-stars held their breath. Hollywood whispered. The 2 kings never shared a throne. They shaped the West in their image, one with nuance, one with noise. Together, they balanced the myth. Apart, they never spoke. He died in 1987, 89 years old. Heart and lungs finally gave out. buried back in North Carolina under Southern soil. His wife joined him years later. Their home gone, demolished, but his papers, letters, photos, scraps of a thoughtful life live on in a university archive. A legacy not of volume, but of depth. He never rode with the man he couldn't stand, and in the end, that was just fine with him. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Real heroes don't always shout. Sometimes they just stand